Welcome back to Thinkmoat. My name is Frisby, and we're looking at how real is Tony Stark AI. We could focus on Jarvis, but we notice all of Stark's AI seem to have the same characteristics. As a software engineer who focuses a lot on natural language processing and a former civil structural engineer, I would break down the validity of Jarvis as an AI. Before we get into this, please click the like button and subscribe. Let's get started. In order to understand how Tony's AI is built, we must understand why Tony built this AI in the first place. Note, we are talking about the MCU Earth 1999 and not the Earth 616 comic book arc. We're only looking at the movies, and I'm not experienced in the Marvel comic books and stuff, but I will speak to this as an engineer. Also, we're talking about Jarvis before he becomes Vision. Here's the floor plan to Tony Stark's garage. These floor plans are owned by Marvel Studios. Apparently, these architectural plans show exactly how Tony's garage is set up in Ironman 1 that persists through each of the 3 movies. I could probably go into architectural breakdown of the floor plans in a future video. Comment below if you want to see this video at a later time. You see the main floor plan, the paint booth, the work area, the industrial area in the back that no one seems to remember. Most of these areas are only shortly depicted in the movies, but I believe they have a significant impact in the design of Jarvis. Over the years, it appears that Tony's hobbies were building cars and different mechanical systems while building weapons at Stark Industries. But how did he manage all this? Well, Tony built his robust desktop project GUI that encompasses pretty much every other software that exists in the world, even though the look and feel was indeed Stark. We can assume that Tony built this software using the module injection approach, which is an abstraction allowing Jarvis to integrate any rendered view into these modules. This process will remove Tony from building every implementation. Jarvis can generate all the views based on Tony wants and needs in real time. But why would Tony, put this much work into something just for his home? Well, it's not just for his home. Tony uses this technology to connect to Stark Industries. He uses his system to connect to external databases such as the Oracle Cloud shown in Ironman 3, where these databases house copied data from different organizations such as CIA, SHIELD, and many different companies. Tony had access to thousands of projects from Stark Industries to the projects he had on his personal servers. Initially, Tony built Jarvis, also known as just a rather very intelligent system, to help with his home automation, designing hardware and software.
You are not authorized to access this area.
Jesus. That's Jarvis. He runs the house.
Basically, Jarvis was an extension of Tony that could work longer and faster. Initially, Jarvis was a natural language AI that had access to controls such as the paint booth and the industrial mill area to fabricate metals components based on Tony's projects. It seems that Tony had built Jarvis to speak, read, think, run simulations, render views and holograms, and take actions that can be controlled via electronic systems. One type of AI that can be configured with speech modeling is intent recognition. Intent recognition is taking a collection of sentences and mapping it to a meaning or action. This is pretty much useful if you can get your AI to learn how to embed unstructured sentences into a corpus automatically before training it.
Ratio, got it?
Yes. Shall I render using proposed specifications?
Roll me.
Jarvis happens to be reacting in real time. This means that his training is happening as fast as he speaks. Also, it appears that Jarvis is fully running autonomously when Tony is not around. We can assume that his training is evolving as he reads news online and learns how to solve problems. The conclusions from his simulations also get embedded in his training module. In other words, his calculations are similar to how we put things together when we see multiple things at one time. Jarvis is even complex enough to use satire and irony. You can even hear this in his jokes with Tony.
Tell you what, throw a little hot rod red in there.
Yes, that should help you keep a low profile.
What makes Jarvis difficult in the real world is response generation.
Sir, you want to run some tests? Run them. And assemble the suit while you're at it. Put it together now.
We are unclear as to the
I don't want to hear it, Jarvis.
Yes, you may have a system that's able to detect the intent and if this is even right. How to generate correct corresponding idea and then generate the text response is a difficult problem in natural language processing. How is Jarvis running? In Ironman 2 movie, you can roughly see about 7 server racks. Each rack could have, 8 to 9 servers, making Tony supercomputers. There is a total of 56 to 63 different servers, all having their own respective 32 cores clocked at 5 gigahertz. This is a total of 2016 cores running in a distributed way, allowing each server to render a screen, hologram, or simulation, whatever, but more importantly, it runs Jarvis. Jarvis has nowhere near the compute capacity of the human brain, so it's unlikely that Jarvis will be sentient in its current form. Tony's supercomputer server capacity is roughly 441 teraflops, given that each one of his computers is 700 gigaflops. That's a lot. But the human brain is on the order of 1 exaflop, which is about 2,000 times Tony's current server rig. So Tony would need about 14,000 server racks or 126,000 servers running at one time to reach the brain capacity. But lucky for Jarvis, people don't have to use the entire brain capacity. We use this much at birth because the brain is designed for any case scenario. But as we mature as a thought, we use far less than we were given. Before Ironman, this was a great starting point for Tony because Jarvis was already a fully functional AI that could perform the task in engineering and fabrication. When Tony needed to become an Ironman, it was a matter of switching the project. Jarvis already could run calculations. Jarvis had access to the library of simulations and renderings that could be built by either Tony or Jarvis.
Test complete. Preparing to power down and begin diagnostics.
Yeah. Tell you what, do a weather and ATC check, start listening in on ground control.
Sir, there are still terabytes of calculations needed before an actual flight is a
Jarvis.
Jarvis was abstract enough that he was connecting to other systems as if he was a separate entity.
Tracy.
Sir,
Now.
Jarvis, where is he?
accessing the Oracle grid. Eastern Seaboard.
Sounds good. Let's get together and hash it out.
Tri-state area. Manhattan and outlying boroughs. Call trace incomplete.
So imagine an AI that noticed that a library didn't exist in your code base. So it begins to build that project, test it, and start running simulations on that system, giving the data that it wanted to use. This definitely classifies as general intelligence. So it seems that the idea of Jarvis is not far-fetched. Yes, we have these fragmented AIs from different companies that work well, but we have not created a general intelligence yet. I could be wrong. There could be some companies or person who's on the verge of building this, but how Jarvis is depicted in Ironman movie is not far away by any means. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and I see you in the next one.